Oh, hey everybody. I'm actually let me fix this here. Sorry for the there, that's better. Um so I've been talking about this actually for years, decades, but your rights are being infringed. And we don't we're used to it, and it needs to stop. And what's prompted me this to do this is the SEC is talking about making I mean, there's all this conversation. It's hitting the news right now. The last it's a bit in and out of the news, but about staking and cryptocurrency, and I'm not going to get into what that's about. But if you're not already wealthy, so in cryptocurrency, that's like $10 million liquid and above. It's crazy, the regulations. They want you to have nothing but bank CD interest or your bank account savings account interest. They don't want you to become wealthy. You will never become wealthy with what's available to you as a non-accredited investor in America. So here's what the problem is. United States citizens are being restricted like Iranian citizens or North Korean citizens or other fascist shithole countries around the world. Uh, Dictatorships that want the citizenship broke, right, in poverty, so that they're constantly, struggling, so they don't have time to really concern themselves about anything other than survival. That's kind of how it works. There's a great little series on Netflix called, How to Become a Dictator. It's a training program for dictators, and it's actually really, really good. It's insightful, and one of the issues I'm seeing in America is we are getting poorer and poorer and poorer. And yeah, the old saying, the richer get richer and the poor get poorer. That's not an accident. And they gaslight you, telling you, well, you need to just work harder, or you just need to go to get more education. And they're selling you stuff all the time. But the truth is we know the system's rigged. You don't have access to leverage. In cryptocurrency, you do. Okay. So somewhere like in 2016, after that election, they started clamping things down, and US citizens were like kicked off from Binance, the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. Why? Well, they don't want you to have access to leverage, right? I mean, they want you to have S&P 500 leverage, 8%, APR, so every 8 to 10 years you may double your money. Well, what happens if you have leverage and you only have $5 and you're a homeless person? Well, they don't want a homeless person becoming wealthy. So, what if you don't have an ID? Well, if you don't have a physical mailing address with a utility bill, you can't even get on any exchange that requires that. KYC, know your customer. That's an infringement on your right to pursue happiness. That's an infringement on your privacy. That they'll say, "Oh, well, we gotta stop crime. We gotta do this. We gotta do that." Well, stop crime, stop terrorism, stop infringing my effing rights. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican. I'm an independent, right? I kind of want all my rights. So do you, right? So here, every issue that we have in America, it boils down to money, right? Right? We want to take care of our veterans. What does it take? Money. You want to end homelessness. What does it take? Well, education and money. You want to redevelop the slums in America, right? What does it take? That requires economic investment, right? I'm not seeing wealthy people doing it. Are you? No, they're buying off our government in order to get tax breaks. Well, who owns most of our stock market? It's not U.S. citizens anymore. This is what everyone's missing. Okay, here's my conspiracy theory. Okay, so people, entities, governments, very wealthy people in other parts of the world that are really, kind of really happy with the whole concept of a dictatorship. The best one, the longest lasting one is North Korea. They like that, they admire that, they want that. Okay. And I'm not going to get into the politics of it. I'm just going to stick by the fact that I think every American, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you want freedom and liberty, right? Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I mean, that's kind of like in our blood and our DNA, right? That's why people come here, right? That's our slogan, right? If you work hard enough, you can make it. Well, you can't if it's rigged against you. And it's been rigged for a long time. Okay. Been a nice slow rigging process. So if they can keep you broke, you can't be politically active. If they keep you broke, you don't have time to pay attention. Okay. They keep you fighting over things that, like your right to own a gun. Like, well, okay, well, your gun's not going to help you become wealthy. And a gun's not going to help protect your right. I mean, I guess if we do the doomsday scenario, right, that then yeah, and actually gun ownership is part of our national security. And a great YouTube person, Bo, the Fifth Column, kind of gets into that. Well, what would it take over America? Anyway, so I'm not going to get into all that. This is all about you, because the reason why you work for a living, the reason why you save, for those of you who are participating in the stock market, wanting to be wealthy someday, right? Why should someday be 40, 50 years from now? Have you seen the odds in that? MJ DeMarco has run the numbers and the odds. A great author, MJ DeMarco, Millionaire Fastlane, Unscripted, all that sort of thing. Let's see. Hold on a second. I just got to pop up. All right. Sorry about that. So, go run, look at that. If you're already older and you're not already wealthy, you're probably not going to be. And there's a program to liquidate all your assets, and that's another conversation for another time. Follow me, and I'll talk about it. But for now, I created some Resistbot petitions to send to your senators, your congressmen, and the president of the United States. And if you take the time, you can also just copy and paste the information and send it to your local state governor and your state legislature. Let freedom reign. Okay, that's what it's about. You should be able to have the access to the same financial opportunities as somebody in Canada or Switzerland or South Korea or Malta or England, but you don't. You've been kicked off. You can't buy gold in Switzerland because you're forbidden to buy those cryptocurrency assets. They want you to have to take that gold physically, which is actually highly dangerous, especially when everyone's broke. People are robbing parts off from cars today. That's how broke we are, right? And you know what? People have a right to eat, but apparently not in our modern society. Richest country in the world, right? That's us, right? Yeah. Well, here's the conspiracy, and I don't know if there's some conspiracy organization behind it or not. I'm not going to get into that, but here's the effect. Someone in South Korea or anywhere that has access to these new wealth producing asset classes and cryptocurrencies, right? And if you don't understand, don't it's just an asset class, right? Like, buying and selling cars, whatever. There's a market for it. Free trade, free market stuff, right? So there's a global free market for this, and it's a threat to existing things that want to control everything. So somebody in these other countries becomes wealthy because they have access to leverage. They're not restricted. So what do? They buy up stocks in the United States. They buy up land in the United States. They're not US citizens. They can apply for dual citizenship. So they can be tax advantage of wherever they're from and not have to pay US taxes unless they're participating in the US economy, but they come here and buy stuff and live here, right? But through buying up our stock market, they now have voting shares on our corporations, which are no longer, our famous American made corporations are mainly internationally owned by non-US citizens and their governments and their wealthy people in these other governments. And guess who's passing those little white envelopes in our federal governments to buy in our state governments and funding everything? They're not US citizens. They're, it's literally like, we talk about the NRA, right? I love the NRA. I grew up with the NRA. I got training through the NRA as a kid growing up in the Midwest, right? I had no idea that Russia started funding them politically. Why would they do that? Well, they don't want common sense gun laws. I'm a Second Amendment person. That's one of my rights. It's one of your rights, but I want to be smart about it. I took training. I've been certified. I have concealed carry, all that stuff, right? I've invested in myself. I feel safe about it. I believe in insurance and things like that. It's called being a responsible owner. I think one of the biggest threats to your freedoms and right to own a weapon is the lack of training. And crazy people gain access to weapons and always in the news, which inspires political action to take away your rights. Huh. Yeah. So, I mean, it's complicated, but you know what's not complicated? I trust you, my fellow citizen of the United States, born and raised in the United States, to cherish your rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Part of that requires your respecting other people's rights, right? You have to allow that. You have to allow that freedom. But your freedoms and my freedoms are being infringed unless we're already wealthy. It's called financial discrimination based on your financial status. Well, if you don't have a certain financial status, well, you can't participate in that pre-IPO before it's an IPO where the people who are already wealthy have a risk-free way of making 18,000% ROI. Well, you fight over the scraps when the bell rings, right? Watch Wolf of Wall Street or read the book or listen to it. It's all about that, right? You cannot participate unless you're the person like creating the idea, right? That's why the dot-com era was so big because people would like write up an idea on a piece of napkin, right, in Silicon Valley, and people with big money would fund them with tens of millions of dollars to take it public because the moment the bell rang, it didn't matter if it was a legitimate idea or not. It didn't matter if the business was successful or not. The moment that bell rang and the shares sold, they had thousands of percent ROI instantaneously with almost no risk. That's kinda what drove all that crap, all right? Yeah, that's fraud. I wish our government would focus on actually prosecuting fraud and information fraud rather than restricting my rights every time someone defrauds the public. Just prosecute the fraud. Give me the freedom to make decisions for myself. I have the freedom to go to a casino, which I know is stacked against me, right? And mortgage my house and take all my money into a casino and gamble it. And if I make money, I have to pay taxes. If I lose money, I can actually take a certain amount of tax write-off, right? But that's been infringed on too. Even as a business person, your right to take off tax losses, especially for startups, it's the most anti-business thing ever was passed. If your financial rights continue to be disrupted, we're being enslaved. We've known it. We've talked about, wage stagnation for 40 some years. That's basically most of my life. You know what I can do with cryptocurrency? I can start with zero, zero, or $5. You can't do that in any other financial market. And if I have access to leverage, which actually out in the world today is as high as 200%, I can teach you how to double your money over and over and over again. I can teach strategies on how to manage that risk in case when crazy stuff happens, the market goes nuts. It's kind of the same skill that's necessary for like options trading, which is how you can have access to leverage. But that access to leverage is really weird because it really is gambling because you're buying something that has a time limit on it. You can't just wait it out. They don't want that. You might be successful. No, they don't want you successful, and that's what I'm upset about. That's why I'm recording this. This is why I'm broadcasting this, okay? This is why I spent my morning today, and I work for a living, creating just a basic, message to send to your state, federal, everybody, legislatures. The only people that's not on here are the GOP, and I don't know why that is, um, but the Resistbot platform makes it simple for you to send out messages, create petitions, and participate in your political concept. Okay. Now, wealthy people just hire people to write the letters for them, or they hire people, their lawyers, to make the phone calls or to pass the white envelopes. We don't have enough money to pass the white envelopes, you and I as citizens, right? So we need to share and get the word out that this is important. You want to fight for your civil rights, whatever those rights are, as whatever. You need money. And what's happening in America right now, your access to money, inflation, everything, your purchasing power is being devastated. And what is the SEC doing? They are aggressively wanting to cut off your ability to get anything beyond what, 2 or 4 or 5% ROI, APR. APR means annual percentage rate. Last time I did what I call a test, I call it an HD 2.0 test. I turned $5 loaned to me from an exchange into $18 in 6 days. 0 losses. I know, it's impossible, I'm told, all the time. "David, you can't do that, it's impossible." I went a whole year trading with no losses. My current stats show that I'm in the top half of 1% traders in the world based on one exchange that we as citizens can still sorta kinda sneak in on that is a reliable exchange out there. We don't have access to Binance. Why is that? Why don't U.S. citizens have access to the largest cryptocurrency, most innovative cryptocurrency exchange in the entire world, an emerging financial transformation bigger than the internet, and you and I are forbidden to participate? What the F is wrong with that? A lot. It's got to stop. So, this is a peaceful call to action. Sign the petitions. If you want, follow me if you like this, okay? Um Politically, I'm kind of independent. I want all my rights. There's things on the right and the left. Our whole country was based on we're supposed to fight about it and come to consensus, and we usually get the best of both worlds if we do that. And that's been hijacked too. It's with crazy stuff, right? We gotta protect your ability to create wealth. Because if you don't have money, you are enslaved. You can't buy the gun, right? Over in some of these shitholes, you can buy an AK-47 for what? $5, 10, or they give them to you. Why is it so expensive for you to get a weapon in the United States? Because, well, right? It is and it isn't, right? Listen, that's not where the fight is. The fight is in your financial power. And through your financial power, you can influence quality, common sense policies, not just for your rights and interests, but for all of our rights and interests. I'd offer for you to consider the golden rule guiding all of your financial decisions, personal decisions, business decisions, and political support and religious support decisions. Civil rights, human rights, all means all. That's what America stands for, right? Individual rights. We need to stop trying to infringe upon each other and get caught up in that stupid stuff. I want to support your right to become wealthy. I'm trusting you that if you learn how to become wealthy, we can put a stop to actually America being bought out by foreign interests that are slowly, literally buying our country under our feet and restricting your and my abilities to become wealthy. It's like like it's an anomaly. Elon Musk is an anomaly, right? But he had a lot of financial backing. It shouldn't require luck in America to become wealthy. It should require work, consistency, vision, dreams, learning from your mistakes, your ability to get back up and restart, the ability to participate. But your ability to participate is being destroyed. It has been destroyed. It was destroyed before I was born. I didn't understand it. I just didn't understand it. I'm 59 years old. Oh, we'll be 59 years old this year. I didn't understand it till the last few years. Why? Too busy working for a living, too busy surviving, too busy being sold the big dream and being sold how to get it by already wealthy people just taking my money and just like, but the playing field is rigged and it's unacceptable. They should have been teaching me how to write in and why becoming wealthy is important. We need something better than an MLM model as a mechanism for wealth around here. And people who are already wealthy, they're scared shitless. So they make all their decisions based on fear. That's why they're not reinvesting. That's why their money's just ticking up trillions and trillions of dollars ticking up and down, doing absolutely nothing for humanity. Not for you, not for your community, not for our country, not for your state, not for your city, not for your county. Why? Because they need more because they're afraid. They're afraid someone's going to take it from them. But they're taking it from you and me through taxes. We're paying for everything. They're not paying for shit. Tax the rich. Well, it's the way it used to be, and we built roads and hospitals and schools and libraries, and we stopped doing that. You know, people back then that were paying 97% tax rate were still multimillionaires, right? Where did all that money come from? It came from us you and me participating, they all got greedy. They got really good at it. They made a science out of it. If you're working for a living, they literally have a plan to liquidate your assets at end of life. Even if you're a multimillionaire, it's not going to go to your heirs anymore. That will be I'll talk about that another time. All right. I want you to just look at this, go read the words that I wrote in the petitions and see if that makes sense to you. Because you should be a qualified investor simply by being a human being in the world. Our planet's too small. But as a US citizen, life, liberty, pursuit, happiness, you can't argue with that. That is the innate nature of rebellion throughout human history, is our desire. It's in our DNA for freedom. Your freedom's being infringed. We need to all come together on all sides of the aisle in independence and put a stop to it. We need to buy our country back. And in order to buy our country back, and to be that light upon the world, you and I need to become wealthy. You need to have the freedom to become wealthy and not take 40, 50 years. How about 6 months? How about 2 years? Without the stress, without have to worrying about an investor that if you do lose money is going to sue you for a crime you didn't commit and just claim fraud or something. And maybe you did break a law and you don't even know about it. So you don't start a business because you don't want to deal with it. Well, what if you could become wealthy all by yourself without having to borrow money from anybody? I think I figured out a couple of ways of doing it, and it won't take you a lifetime. And you don't have to take my word for it. Go look at MJ DeMarco. He's got business models for startups. It's some of the best information ever. One of the coolest things there is he also shows you how absolutely impossible it is and how the system is rigged totally against you and we've all been lied to. Can't fix that overnight. But if we lose our rights to participate in a global revolution, yeah, your gun's not going to stop you from being enslaved. The reason why they're building a wall on the border is not to keep cheap labor out of America. It's to keep you from leaving in order to get rights and freedoms back. Most people didn't think of it that way. I did. All right, everybody, got to go. Got to go work for a living along with, my other stuff. Like I'm creating a mechanism for using bots. Very, very time efficient. It's so easy to make money in cryptocurrency if you know what you're doing. And the market itself will teach you what you need to know. But if you are forbidden to participate, you'll never learn. And most people don't have enough money to even begin the options game or the stock game. And if you do get access to some leverage and margin in those games, it's very, very limited. It'll take you a long time unless you're an anomaly. And you can get lucky, but I think I don't think it should require just luck. I think you should be able to do it because you're willing to learn and willing to do the work. And it doesn't have to be hard. We're in an information age. You don't even have to be super smart. But if you don't have access, you can't even try. And that's what I'm a little pissed off about. Your ability to even try has been removed and is being removed. And they're aggressively going after it to protect already wealthy people who are scared to death of losing what they have, even though they have generational wealth. So they're willing to have you go homeless. They're willing to lay off everybody in order to protect something from which they're violating their social agreement through their tax cuts and stuff like that. They're supposed to carry us through recessionary periods by providing jobs even at a loss. That's why they got all those free money and tax breaks over the last 40, 50 years. But they weren't taught stewardship anymore. Most of us, it's crazy what's going on. So, gotta go. Like, subscribe, share. But this message, whether you like me or not, is an important one. I hope it goes viral, and I hope you write. I hope you do the thing. I hope you begin the conversation. Because seriously, if you have the right to go into a casino, but you don't have a right to participate in leverage and cryptocurrency, you don't have the right to participate in qualified investor investments. They're literally forcing you to take on the riskiest part of the process, but you don't understand it, which is why we've allowed it to happen. It's got to stop. So please, please protect your freedoms and liberties and right to pursue happiness. It is already infringed. We have to stop it from getting worse. And we also then need to reverse it, because you should have the freedom to liberty to do with your money that you've earned whatever the F you want to do with it, provided it's not hurting other people, right? Breaking laws kind of stuff. But if you want to go down and buy a lotto ticket, by God, you should be able to buy a lotto ticket. You may not like cryptocurrencies. You may think it's a scam. That's fine, right? If it is a scam, they should go after the scam artist, right? But if it's more than that, I should have the right to buy and trade. I can buy and trade playing cards. I can buy and sell pet rocks. But why can't I participate in something that could make me wealthy in a fairly short order, thus empowering me to make a difference in my community and my life? That's where the conspiracy is. They want you poor. And that's how they can control and take us over without firing a shot. Get us fighting over stupid stuff while our rights are being destroyed. Kind of weird, huh? Yeah. Needs to stop. All right. Pot to David out. You know what to do. Just do it. This is basically free. So fight back. Use your right. Contact people. Spread the word. Keep talking about it. Keep the conversation going. Do some research. It's important. David out.